you need to read a book from like a German philosopher on logic. Maybe you need to read the Zen of motorcycle maintenance, right? But at least be open to that perspective. I mean, you shouldn't be like shooting blindly and just reading, oh, whatever. Maybe this will give me another different perspective. But try to like find if somebody recommends you, that's a good book. Maybe I think you'd like that because you have that mathematical mind or whatever. Be open to new perspectives on what you're doing. That's a way of being creative, seeing something old from a new angle or something new from an old angle. So some examples. Got to go out and do things you've never done. Go to a new place. And it's a bit about going out and also your comfort zone. I think we talked about that doing lunch.
Yep. Go climbing.
Yeah. And working with people who are different from you. I think that's difficult for you right now when you have a group of 4 computer science students, and there's 2 computer science students. Yeah, but as much as you can. And I think a couple of the projects here, immediately we identified maybe you need an artist, maybe you need like a sound designer. And if you do that, go out and find that person and start working with them. Get some input on what you're doing. Because they're going to have exactly this new impulse, new perspective on what you're doing, on something that you're familiar with, that can be very valuable for you. And that is very much a part of being creative. And yeah, just get out of the echo chamber to experience life. I think there's a lot of disciplines where maturation, having lived a bit, is important. And any creative discipline is very likely to be like that. Have any of you seen Sonic Highways? I think it's rerun now on, maybe tomorrow there's another episode. Have you seen it? No? I think this is a really interesting documentary. It's the Foo Fighters. They travel across the US and make they try to find the sound of each city they get to and make a new song that captures that sound while still being very Foo Fighters. Not 100% sure. I think it's their best songs that come out of it, but the process is really interesting, really amazing. And I think if you have time somewhere, as I said, I think it's a rerun this tomorrow, 3rd episode or something. Maybe it's Seattle, I'm not sure. I can consider watching that. It's all about being immersed in a different perspective and making something creative, something new that's based on that, but that still is yours. And there's a thing there that I just had to take a picture of the TV screen when I saw it, because I think it's very useful for you. Don't follow in the footstep of the masters. Seek what they sought. That was just on the back of an old sound lab in I don't remember even which city it was, but that's super important. Just digging deeper. Instead of copying people that you admire, find out why did they make that? Why does it look like that? I mean, if you like if you like what Steve Jobs did with the iPhone, some of you might not. But then just don't try to make stuff that looks like the iPhone. Find out why did he want to do that? What was his goal? Why did he think the way he did? Right? And I think then you can make something that's unique, that's original, but still be inspired by the people that amaze you. I want to say something really quick about collecting ideas. As you can see, this guy is done. This is collecting something. Ideas are very ephemeral. At least when they're on that very low quality level, they'll get away from you real quick. And it's important to just, when you have something that sounds like, oh, that could be cool, write it down. A lot of you didn't have your pads up or weren't writing from the exercise for the hats when I came around. That's generally not a good thing. Because remember what the lowest level of an idea is? In your head. And the second is when it's documented. At least take it one notch up. Do that. Write it down in an idea diary, in a notepad, use Dropbox if you're sharing with people, even on your hand. I do that all the time. I think for a long time, I thought that was a bit sort of, childish, writing stuff on my hand, walking around with the ballpoint pen stains on my hands. And then I was in Venezuela, and my father introduced me to the head of operations of British Petroleum. He sticks out his hand, there's stuff written on it. And I thought, yeah, maybe it's not so bad. Just do what works for you, okay? And don't care if it looks silly or whatever. And you can collect ideas by drawing them, coding them, filming them, sharing them. That's something, you thought that was a bit scary, right? Sharing ideas, ooh, it's a bit scary, isn't that dangerous? I'm going to grab that anecdote even if we go over time. This is a game concept. There was this German game studio back, I don't think they exist anymore, called Schadenfreude Games. And they had this guy come in, and he had a fantastic idea. And but their CEO wasn't there, he was late. And okay, let's see the idea. And he rolls out a sheet of paper. It's a napkin. And look like that. And it's like, okay, what's this? But the minute he starts explaining, the CEO comes in. Oh, sorry, I'm late. Puts his coffee cup on the table and it spills over. And it goes all over the napkin. It's soaked with, and oh shit. And he takes that napkin and wipes it up. Ah, well, it's going to only hit the napkin. And the guy goes, ah, and he runs off and don't see him again. So that's the reconstruction. I think that's not really supporting my point here, but supporting another point. It's not very worthwhile in this form. They also got this other guy in with this huge tome. Remember that? Remember those tomes with all that, like you've written for so long, and you have so much ideas, but they're all really not developed in any way. And so this is my game concept, and I want you guys to make it, but I just want 10%. Okay, but what is it? Now I can't tell you because then you'll steal my idea. Okay, but how can we agree to make it if you don't tell us what it is? Well, you have to agree to make it, and then I'll show you. It's fantastic. Okay, but can we guess what it is? I suppose. Is it ninjas from space? No. Is it about camels? And then he runs out, and they never see him again. To this day, they don't know what it was. The problem is, he never got to make that game. And nobody wants to steal your idea if they have ideas of their own. Usually people like their own ideas a lot more. But it does happen. It does happen. Somebody steals your ideas. But the thing is, ideas have to be refined. And if you don't share your ideas, you don't get any feedback. They don't get any better. They're still down at that super low level where they're not tangible, where they don't have any quality. And they have to be implemented. An idea, very few of the ideas that exist. If you have a look at Minecraft, for instance, a lot of you should be familiar with Minecraft. It's not the first block-based game. It's not the first procedurally generated game. It just took a lot of things from other games and made it better and put them together. It's not super innovative, but it's innovative enough. Ideas are a dime a dozen, but in solid implementation is 1 in a million. Okay, it sounds very sort of pop smart, but it is true. It's all about the implementation. If you had an idea and somebody stole it, you can just make another idea. You probably have more than one. I know you have more than one, right? It's not a problem. And what I like to say, if they steal it anyway, they're clearing the market for ideas. Try to sell them something. Somebody steals your idea, like you talk to somebody and, hey, wait, they're making that thing I said. They obviously don't have that much imagination. I could probably sell them some of my ideas. That's the cheapest buck you ever made. Don't be afraid to share ideas, because if you don't share them, you will never be able to make anything that requires more than one person. Another thing, that's one of the few things I think that my father is, all my life, is trying to give me a life advice, how to run my life, what to do, what to study, all these things. And I've very seldom listened to him. He said I should be an engineer. I'm laughing now, because now he's an engineer and he lost his job because, oil. But that's fine. But one thing he told me, which was, I'm just gonna, I want to run that anecdote anyway. He told me something about having room for other people's creativity. I was just finished with my master's. I went up to visit him, and he was working on the logic for a control system for an offshore drilling rig. Start here, and here's a box, and all these things, right? These. It's all fun and games. Just imagine, this is for controlling all the processes on an offshore rig. It's huge. It's fantastically ginormous flow charts. Things. And then, I'm kind of cocky. I just feel like, here, you should have a prompt here. And here, over here, you should have a dialog box. And he goes, yeah. But and I'm like, but you knew? Yeah, of course I know. But here, over here, you should have should be a choice here. I know. But I said, why don't you put it in? Well, what you have to understand is that the people who are going to code this, they have a PhD from NTNU. And if I don't leave a little room for them to feel smart, they're going to get bored and they're going to leave. And whether the prompt is this way or that, whether there's a choice, I don't care, because the structure is there, and that's mine, and it's solid. That's based on 20 years working in this business. And if that prompt isn't in, that's a way for me to say, hey, you got to pay attention. You got to put something of yourself in there. So leaving room for other people to be creative, not to be super stick with it. Even if it's your idea and you have a vision of how it should be, leaving some space for the other people. I'm going to give you some examples. Most of these are from films. Ripley. Ripley is the iconic female character. Oh, the film came out in '79, didn't it? So it's been throughout the '80s. Strong female lead. This is, the prototype for her. But she was actually, first, when she was written, that part was written for a man. But the casting director said, I have this friend of mine, and she's really strong, she's really cool. But won't you audition her? And they thought, And they had her audition and said, this should be our lead. But then they went through the dialogue and said, well, let's have a look and see how much we have to change for it to be a woman instead of a man. Did anybody know how much they changed? Guess?
Nothing.
They didn't change a single line, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad, but the strong female lead in the '80s is a man. It was written as a man. Not to detract from Sigourney Weaver at all. This is a super actor, but it's interesting, right? You let the casting director come in and be creative, where she can be creative with the stuff she. I think this role would be perfect for Sigourney. So let's try it. Ever heard of H.R. Giger? He's dead now, but these are the original concepts for the alien and the derelict in Alien. These are drawn actually by O'Bannon and Cobb, who are the people who wrote the screenplay. As you can see, they're pretty, or maybe you can't see, they're pretty accomplished draftsmen, but they really don't have that je ne sais quoi. Because this guy on the set, he says, have you ever heard about H.R. Giger? That this look, the biomechanoids of H.R. Giger, and this weird organic-looking spaceship, that becomes the look of Alien. It's an iconic look that shapes so much that's been done in horror and science fiction films for the next couple of decades. It's enormously influential. I don't think it's possible to overstate how influential this is. But they're saying, you know, yeah, this is better than what we made. This wasn't what we had in mind when we drew that, but hey, this is great. Terminator was Cameron's sort of, I think it was his first film as a director and not as a special effects man, but I could be wrong. But he actually, everybody knows that that was, you know, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But actually, this is one of his first concepts. That's Lance Henriksen. Everybody know Lance Henriksen? He's an actor. He plays in Terminator, but with a different role. He's a cop. One of the cops that gets shot when after Arnie says, "I'll be back." But he's a friend of Cameron's, and thing is, he's like a regular guy. And Cameron wants, you know, the Terminator to blend in. He's a, you know, undercover assassin. You can't see him. You don't know if he's human or not. And then he gets very disappointed when the studio says, "Yes, we're funding your film, but it has to be a vehicle for this guy, for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's going to play the role that Michael Biehn plays. He's going to be the hero." And what happens is Arnold Schwarzenegger reads the script, and he says, "I like it, but I want to be the Terminator." That's a moment of insight right there. He sees that, maybe he sees that scene with exposition when what Michael Bihn's character is driving with the Terminator is on their heels, and he's got Sarah Connor in the car, and he's trying to explain the whole world behind the Terminator, how they made their flesh, but with metal parts underneath, right? And he's like, I can't be that, but I can be that guy who's following them. I can be that killer. And that's being open to somebody else's creativity. I want to be the Terminator. He's still the guy. I mean, he was the governor. That role has stayed with him for quite a long time. To get to something digital, Diablo was made to be like the first Fallout games, turn-based with action points. Go over there, and also similar to the Rogue, those kind of games, randomly generated, and you just move through a dungeon with monsters. And then one of the programmers said, "But actually, the way we stack this stuff, I'm just putting in stops that the player activates. We could just put this on a clock and it would go real time." No, the designer said, "That's not a good idea. That's gonna, people want to be able to take their time and be strategic, and no, we don't like that." But he stayed after hours, just made a prototype. When they came in next morning, he showed them. And it's obvious to everyone, this is, of course, how Diablo must be. This is the game. Click, go there, click, kill the monsters. It's, but again, when did it become a good idea? When the people who were in charge could see, of course it's a good idea. He implemented it, right? He made something for everyone to see, this is a fantastic idea. Gears of War, yeah, you could put a chainsaw on the end. There's some more lucky accidents if you want to look. I'm going to put this up on Fonter for you guys. And is there anything else? I'm going to skip the pitching. I'm going to take that next time. But I want you the next time to follow the links that are in here. I want you to cement the groups and give me a list of which groups you're on and what you're making, preferably with some notes using the 6 hats. so that I have that. I'll make a little task for you guys in Funker. Then I want you to research what is Innovation Norway and what kind of projects are they looking for in funding. Those of you who are in Granada, you can try to find what are the Spanish government looking for? What kind of organization do they have for promoting innovation in Spain? And then, I think you create a very short pitch for a project. We're going to do you're going to make it first, and then I'm going to tell you how to make it afterwards. It's often more educational that way. It feels worse, and you feel, oh, why didn't they just tell us that right away? But it's actually more educational this way. Make something and see why it was wrong. So very short, like 5-minute pitch, and we're going to have some pitching sessions. Hopefully we'll get Innovation Norway in on the later part of the day so that you can do the pitches in front of them.
Yeah, we managed that last year. So
yeah.
The Innovation Norway was here for your pitches.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all I had for you guys today. Any questions, any comments, by the way? What did you think of the lecture? Okay, was it close to what you wanted, or is it like very far from it? It's fine to say.
Quite close.
Quite close? It's good. What about grades? Enough grades or not enough grades? Enough grades? Yeah. So you don't need to update. Sometimes I just keep talking and people start falling asleep, and we don't want that. But okay, so the level of the 2 grades is okay for you guys. That's great. Keep it there, and if you change your mind, let me know. If there's anything you'd like to say that you didn't think of now, or it's so crass that you want to say it in front of your friends, that's fine. You can just I'm gonna put my email and telephone number up on Funter, so you can just whenever send me an SMS, send me an email. And if there's something you're wondering, if if you're unsure of something, please tell me in advance so you don't meet up and just, oh, I didn't do that because I wasn't sure. You didn't do that. If you didn't do it, it was because you prioritized something else, or because you didn't think it was important, which is basically the same thing, or because I said you shouldn't do it. Never assume, like I did with the loudspeaker. Assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. If there's anything you're unsure of, ask me. Right? It's okay to call me, maybe not in the middle of the night though, but it's okay to call me and it's okay to send me emails. And that's it. Okay, thank you very much.